Hello everybody, my name is Vasanta. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This channel is dedicated to Vedic Astrology, and my intention here is to help you navigate life in the best way possible through the power and wisdom of Vedic Astrology. So today we're going to be reviewing the predictions for year 2024. The good news is that the year is coming up really powerful from the beginning. Unlike the last few years, we are having excellent energy starting the year, and it'll tend to get better, vibrant, and powerful as the year goes by. We have harmony in the planets. So I'm going to be reviewing the main transits. We're going to go one by one, especially, what determines the frequency of the year is where Jupiter, Saturn, and the nodes of the moon are going to be, because they have a great impact on the overall outcome of the year. So this is mostly what we're going to be looking at. So we're going to go one by one. So I made a slide here. We're going to be reviewing every planet by slide. And in Vedic astrology, we use lunar astrology. So there's the 27 constellations or 27 nakshatras. We're going to be reviewing not only where the planet falls when it comes to the 12 solar signs, which is what most of you are familiar with, but we're also going to be reviewing, we're going to be zooming in into the nakshatras and the impact these nakshatras are going to be having, when it comes to destiny. So here we're starting off with Jupiter in Aries in 2024. Until February 3rd, Jupiter is going to be in the constellation of Ashwini. Ashwini is symbol of horsehead, and it is ruled by planet Ketu. So what does this mean? It means that during this time we're going to be healing very adamantly with positivity karmas from the past life. So you will see that a lot of cycles are closing for you in a very positive way. So it's almost like many things that were left undone or are said in a past life, we have the inspiration to close those in a very positive way. And then we get the power to reach things or to reach goals that we wanted in a past life and that we couldn't do. So all of those things are going to become clear and apparent for us. We're going to find that courage, right, to see where cycles ended last life and where the new story or the new chapter begins. This works in every level. It works in the level of relationships. It works in the level of, work or projects. Then from February 3rd till April 15th, that same planet Jupiter is going to be still in Aries, so it's still lorded by Mars, but the particularity of that transit is going to go into a constellation called Bharani. And the difference that we're going to see with Bharani is, of course, that Bharani is ruled by Venus instead of Ketu. So even though it is a much lighter energy, less existential, we're dealing with less things that are coming in from the past. We will be dealing now with the power to cleanse our impurities. And it is a nakshatra that brings in a lot of passion. So we will notice, of course, the difference between Jupiter being in Ashwini, which is a karmic cycle, closing cycles and opening new cycles, with the renewed energy of Bharani, which is the full open cycle. And the power here is to bring forward desires and bring forward, the next chapter in our life. Again, Jupiter being in Aries is very positive. Now for a few years, we have been going through many trials as humanity, and it's almost like there was nothing new, and we felt very stagnant. Now with the power of Jupiter in Aries, we'll be feeling like, once again, we have that hunger and that enthusiasm to go forward in life and, participate in new projects and new endeavors. That's going to happen, while Jupiter is in Aries. Now remember that astrology is all about relationship, and we have to ask ourselves, right? during the time where Jupiter is going to be in Aries, where is Mars? Because Mars is the lord of Aries. So usually what we see is that when there's a combination where the lord of a certain sign is in dignity or is in a friendly sign, it calls for a lot of success, right? So here we see that Mars is going to be exalted in Capricorn, and it'll be lording Aries, a friendly sign for Jupiter. So I think, as an overall prediction between February and March of this year, we're going to be seeing very strong energy of manifestation. If you know a little bit of Chinese astrology, you will be familiar with the fact that the year has been termed as a dragon year, so there's a lot of emerging positive yang energy. Whatever was stored, whatever we've been learning, is preparing us to be discharged. So you can see it a little bit as, the first thunder in spring, when the first storms come, that, it's a loud thunder, right? What calls out for the new life, and that's how we know that life is about to begin again. So in the same way, you may expect some thunder in the beginning of the year, but try to see it as a positive thing, not a negative thing. And then, from that point onwards, we do have the conjunction of Mars and Venus in Capricorn in the middle of February. So while Jupiter is in Aries, that is a hot time. And it is, of course, a time where we're going to see many changes. And the final thing that we have to say about Jupiter is that Jupiter is going to move to Krittika on May 1st. So that's the final transit into a new nakshatra of Jupiter. And Krittika is compared to a blade or a sword, it can be. So it is definitely a Tiksha nakshatra. It's a nakshatra that cuts. And it has the Dahana Shakti, which is the power to burn away negativity or to get to the deepest truths. So once again, we have a bit of an existential period, but the difference is that, compared to Ashwini, where we're closing cycles and opening new ones, here I think we know what we want, and it's just we have to deal with maybe the self-doubt that we may have, because the nakshatra belongs to the sun. So the sun is radiant and self-evident and powerful, and it moves directionally. So always remember that Jupiter is the great benefic. Jupiter is always here to help us. In this case, Jupiter is going to be throwing aspects in its triangular form, as it usually does, and it'll be doing so in fire signs. So if you have your sun, your ascendant, or your moon in Aries, that is going to be great for you. The same for people that have their moon or their sun in Leo. And the same thing for the people that are dominated by maybe a Sagittarius ascendant, a sun in Sagittarius, or the moon in Sagittarius. So overall, until May 1st, you still have that excellent input of Jupiter working in your favor. Of course, Jupiter aspects as well, Libra. So if you have your ascendant or any important planet in your chart that may be in Libra, you'll be very infused with very positive energy. It's almost like the universe is going to be whispering enthusiasm and belief in you. You will get it from an external source. Usually what transits do is they set the tone of the world or of the universe to externally motivate you. So you will get that energy from outside of yourself. Whereas for example, with Saturn, he tends to hold back energy so that you may show what it is that you have inside. So we will visit Saturn next, and I will make predictions based on that. But when it comes to the part that belongs to Jupiter, you know that the beginning of the year is going to be, pretty active. And there's a lot of energy, like even a thunderous energy, to go forward and move ahead with whatever is new. So by now, everything that we received during the pandemic and all the drama that came after should be mostly digested karmically, and we should have figured something out, how to move forward, and how to make a life and how to build a life in a positive way. So we've all been through that process. We've all been through those trials and challenges, but here we are. We came out wiser, stronger, and with a renewed enthusiasm to build a beautiful life based on the values that we have found worthy within us. And we go forward. So the next thing that's going to happen is that Jupiter moves into Taurus. It is a much more gentle energy because instead of being lorded by Mars, over there in Taurus, the whole story is with Venus. So instead of paying attention where Mars is moving, we're going to be paying attention to where Venus is moving. So that is the next slide, and I'll meet you there. All right, so once Jupiter moves into Taurus, then what we will experience is the energy is very, very different from Jupiter and Mars. Mars is a warlike planet. It wants to get things done. It has a fiery nature. It is determined. Whereas Venus is a planet of love, comfort, a feeling of well-being. It is soft in nature. It is feminine in nature. So it'll be a very different situation in the world once that transit is there. Remember that Jupiter is the benefic, the great benefic, and wherever it transits, it usually brings abundance. Now, Taurus is itself the sign of abundance, especially when it comes to material manifestation, artha. So I would consider this to be what we would know in Sanskrit as a Paramartha combination, which is it will bring a lot of wealth. Somehow the world will be very focused on wealth, on comfort, and these qualities. So it starts on May the 1st. So right in the beginning of spring, we will see that this transit takes effect. And what's going to happen is, especially if you have your, any kind of important configuration in your chart in Taurus, such as your moon, your sun, or your ascendant, then this yoga will take effect. But generally, for everybody around the world, it'll be a time where we're gonna suddenly feel that it's time to invest and it's time to make money. So things that are favored during this transit are, of course, the acquisition of real estate, the acquisition of property, remodeling. It could also express itself in luxury, like also vehicles, jewelry, and education. So it is a time to make money and it is a time to increase our wealth. So let's remember that everything is about timing. So after May 1st, if you want the advice on when to invest or when to start looking for properties or objects of acquisition, for comforts and luxuries, all of these things will come, during this time. The aspects of this Jupiter transit are going to be in Virgo. So Jupiter is going to be affecting Virgo, and the energy there is going to be very interesting because planet Ketu is there. So perhaps, the way that is going to affect the people that have any type of situation in these signs, you have planets in Virgo, you'll get both dealing with the past, and also you'll get an influx of wealth, and try to see how you're going to be organizing that. And it could be the presence of any planet, so try to look at what house Virgo is in your astrological chart, and you'll see this effect, right? It is the ending of a cycle, or having to deal with the intricacies and the details of a certain situation. So depending on the house, you will see what situation you'll be having to be aware of. But then there's also that influx of energy that Jupiter brings. Then you have the aspect in Scorpio as well, but there is no planet there. Unless there's a planet there, then the energy increases. Otherwise, it's almost like Jupiter is present there through his aspect, and also Capricorn. So for all the earth signs, if you have a moon in the earth signs, or you have your sun in the earth signs, or also you have your ascendant in the earth signs, it's going to be an extremely auspicious year. So it'll bring you the energy of those houses are going to be activated in a very positive way. So if you want to see the energy of Jupiter is golden or yellow, so it brings us prosperity, abundance, growth, positivity. It's a giver. So you will see that externally you are giving possibilities for your enjoyment. The difference between Saturn and Jupiter is that Jupiter gives opportunities in the environment. Jupiter will give you opportunity externally, and Saturn will give you opportunity internally. So most of the time when you're in a Saturn period, or Saturn comes around, externally you don't get the light. You have to find the light within so that you can bring it externally. And this is why many people have so much problem with Saturn, because it is said Saturn is not easy. But in the same way, what Saturn does is it allows us to find our inner light, whereas Jupiter is it can be internal, but usually what happens is we're so much facilitated externally. So now we will go nakshatra by nakshatra, and we will have a look at what's going to happen there in the transit of Jupiter in Taurus. So remember that the nakshatras are the lunar constellations. So in this case, even though Jupiter is experiencing a transit in Taurus, if we look with our microscope, then it's 3 constellations that Jupiter is going to be visiting during its transit time, which goes well into next year. So for most of 2024, Jupiter is going to be in Taurus. Now, it's important to understand where Venus is going to be located before we go into the nakshatras. So the Venus is going to be transiting also in Taurus. So that time after the 23rd 05, Jupiter and Venus are going to be conjunct in Taurus. So that is an extremely auspicious time for investment or wealth, fully activated. So also, if you have your moon, sun, or ascendant, or any number of planets in Taurus, you will see that you will get some special grace during this time. It lasts for about a month, and then, to increase that even more, you have it here that in 0406, that's June, you're going to be having Venus, Sun, and Jupiter conjunct in Taurus in the constellation of Rohini. So I would say that June is going to be a time of an explosion of wealth, of good fortune. You are going to see many things fructify. So it's like, for example, planting something, and then during that time, right, you planted a tree. And after many, many years, one day it just gives you mangoes. So there's like an abundance, right, on the tree you planted. So such is the time right here. There's abundance generally. So if you want an advice, a good time to invest or a good time to start wealth generating things, this is a good time for that. So anyway, if you have sun, moon, or ascendant, you will definitely see wealth during this time. Otherwise, if there's any planet there, you will see it activated. So depending on which house the transit happens. I give you an example. If it happens in house number 1, it'll be personal development. If it happens in house number 2, it'll be wealth. If it happens in house number 3, better relationships with your siblings, or perhaps short-term traveling, interest in studies and communication. 4, it can be renewal to the house, for example, or ancestral property. So you get a boon in that area, right? Or a boon in your family. House number 6, creativity and children. So for those people that have presence of planets in Taurus in their 5th house natively, you will see that perhaps you get a kid. Then important towards June 17th, Venus and Mercury are going to be conjunct in Gemini with Sun. So perhaps the energy goes down a little bit from that, abundance and that brightness of Venus and Jupiter, the 2 gurus, present in Taurus together with the Sun. So it's going to be an extremely bright time. It hails wealth and well-being during that time. So I think it's going to be a fun summer. You can expect luxury vacation, for example, right? It'll be a good time for having fun with the family. Then what happens, Venus is going to be conjunct with Mercury in Leo, so that is also a pretty nice time. So I think many weddings during that time. So get ready, perhaps you're going to have weddings in the family because it happens in Magha. So yeah, all Leo brings strong unions. So you can expect that during, towards September, August, September. And then finally, Venus is going to be debilitated in Virgo. So this is perhaps not the best transit, debilitated in conjunct Ketu. So perhaps during this time, don't invest while that's going on. It'll last for about a month from the end of August, 24th of August, till September 18th. We will have a debilitated Venus. So during that time, definitely don't invest. It's going to be a low karmic energy, low karmic period. Perhaps debts, or instead of focusing on the beautiful things that Venus is focused in naturally, we get caught up in the details of the anatomy. So it's more function rather than form, practicality and pragmatism over beauty. This is why Venus doesn't feel so happy in Virgo. All right, so we go to the nakshatra. So in the beginning, it's Jupiter is going to be in Krittika, and that nakshatra belongs to the sun. So it is a bright time, but it is an adamant, forward-looking time, creative time. And it is a power to negate negativity and to get the deepest truths within ourselves. So it's more like the shine of the sun, in the light of the sun are cast together with the energy of Jupiter with abundance. So it's like go and get it, create it. We will feel a lot of creative power till June 12th. So that is fantastic. It gives us first Jupiter in Aries and then Jupiter in Taurus in Krittika. Gives us a fantastic start to the year. Very creative. We're going to be engaged in new things. We're going to be with renewed enthusiasm. You'll see people around you doing new projects. Then we have Jupiter in Rohini, so that is fantastic. Once Jupiter enters Rohini, which is one of the constellations on abundance, and then it is going to be lording Pisces. And Rahu is going to be in Revati at the same time. So Rohini and Revati, they're both queens of abundance in the zodiac. So I think that is going to be a fantastic time as well. June and, beginning of August, we're going to catch the wave of, these two gurus being in wealth nakshatras. So it is related to a temple, a banyan tree, a chariot. So these are symbols of extreme wealth. So you will see manifestation of very beautiful things during that time. The nakshatra belongs to the moon instead of the sun. So the energy tends to be gentle. Moon and Venus, they're both feminine energy. So you can expect that towards August, we will have a more feminine constellation. Not so much about manifestation, which is going to be the priority in the first half of the year, but it's rather going to be the abundance and the nurturing of that manifestation. So a lot of celebrations and a lot of parties, a lot of appreciation during that time, and it is the power of growth. So once things are manifested, what we are asked to dwell in is, okay, so now it's manifested, how do we maintain it, how do we grow it, how do we sustain it, but with good enthusiasm. And then finally we have the transit of Jupiter in Migrashira, which is going to be from the 20th of August forward. So between June the 12th and August the 20th, that is going to be a fantastic time for manifestation for everybody in the world. Please keep it in mind. If you have any project or anything you need to buy it during that time. If you have any, anything that you want to launch it on that day. Any important proposal, anything you want to move forward with, do it during that time. It's a time of abundance and prosperity. If you plant a seed during that time, it'll definitely be a tree that will give you wealth and abundance, right? So then we have that after August the 20th, Jupiter moves into Migrashira, and that tends to be a very tender time. Migrashira is a nakshatra of tenderness. People that have any number of planets in this nakshatra show a quality of tenderness to their nature. So, for example, there is Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, the lord of his moon, is Venus, and Venus is in Migrashira, so his character, his voice, the way he treats people tends to be very, very tender. So during that time, Jupiter being there, it'll be a time of tenderness, and it is the power of giving fulfillment. So during this time, many dreams come true, and there is fulfillment of many things that we've been dreaming about. So generally, what I see, even though there's many people saying that 2024 will be like a very complicated year for humanity, I actually don't agree. From the perspective of astrology, we see that due to the position of Jupiter, it tends to be a very wealth-giving year, a year of manifestation and abundance and fulfillment. So I think if we have good character and we play it well, also remember Jupiter is Guru. So if you have elders or teachers you respect, or people that are more advanced than you in wisdom, this wealth and abundance, or the advice for it, tends to come from these people. So keep an eye on those people that are your guides, and listen to them, and you'll get the hints on when to act in a proper way so that you may increase your wealth during this year. So good luck, everybody. All right, so let's see. When it comes to Saturn, which is what's up next, remember Saturn is the planet of responsibility. And it moves in a very different way as Jupiter. So usually when wherever Saturn goes, we can see challenges for people. In this case, as it comes for predictions for general world, we can see that Saturn is well positioned because Saturn is in its own sign of Aquarius. So Saturn is extremely powerful when it's in its Mula Trikona sign of Aquarius. And this, of course, is a very good thing for all of us during this year. So most of the things that you are hearing about the explosion of AI, artificial intelligence, the massive change that is happening regarding this, it's becoming mainstream, it's becoming very popular. And also soon we're going to have the Apple Vision Pro, which is, in its way, it's going to change the way we interact with technology. Will it be as big as the smartphone? Yeah, I think with time, the technology will evolve into that once we get into media, entertainment media, design as well. So all of that is going to happen during this year, as well as advancements in medicine and advancements in the economical technology as well. So Saturn is in Aquarius until March the 29th of 2025. So we still have the entire year of Saturn being in Aquarius. It's going to be in two nakshatras. First, it's going to be in the nakshatra of Shatabhishak, and then it's going to be in Purva Bhadra. Remember that the aspects, right, are going to be directly on Aries, Leo, and Scorpio. So here is where we see that if you have any important planet in Aries, or if your chart Aries is prominent, that is a position of power because both Saturn and Jupiter are going to be present. It's almost like they're conjunct in Aries. So it's incredibly powerful. The same goes for Leo. There's going to be an aspect in Leo. And then finally, there's an aspect in Scorpio. So we'll watch out whenever Mars goes into Aries, Leo, or Scorpio, because those are going to be definitely zones of tension. But apart from that, I think we should be okay. Then, of course, it's Saturn is Lord in Capricorn and Aquarius. So, during this time, people that have nativities in Capricorn and Aquarius, even though there is responsibility, there's a lot of opportunity. So remember, many people, they are afraid of Saturn, but as long as you are responsible, you're on time, and the quality of your work is diligent and constant, you should not have a problem with Saturn. Saturn is a planet that rewards stability and long term commitment, trust. So, during these times, we're going to be experiencing these things. The problematic time will come around the beginning of summer, end of spring, 2904. Saturn retrogrades in Aquarius, and that's going to go all the way till November, till 15th of November. So it'll be retrograde in Purva Bhadra, so that is the challenging aspect. And it'll come back to Shata Bishak on December 27th, and then it'll go into Purva Bhadra again direct until April of 2025. So during the times when there is retrogrades, we'll be asking ourselves, is like, what have we done? Why did we do this to ourselves? And we will reevaluate. Last time Saturn was retrograde, we had all this drama with the representatives of the main AI companies writing a letter that we should hold back on AI development and not do it anymore. So during these times you can expect that if the retrograde is going to be in Purva Bhadra, which is the sword, the symbol is a sword or two legs of a bed. It is lorded by Jupiter, and it is the deity. It's the one-footed goat. So it has the Shakti of Jayamana, which is it is to raise oneself from in spirituality. So I think that all the dialogue and all the questions are going to be around materialism versus spirituality. What are the spiritual implications for society now that AI is here? In what way are we going to regulate? I think during this year we're going to have problems that we didn't know we had to have. But anyway, there is no stopping the AI revolution. So it'll be definitely a breaking point. I think by the time that Saturn is out of Aquarius, the AI revolution will have happened. So remember, that is until March 29th of 2025. So we still have all 2024 and all spring of 2025 for this cycle to complete. Remember, Saturn moves really slow, so the transition will be completed. While Saturn is in the constellation of Shata Bishak, many changes because the constellation belongs to Rahu. And there's also a period of healing for humanity. So what Saturn will tend to give, right, is opportunities and, whatever it is that has gone wrong in society. Saturn slowly but surely will give us an opportunity to rebuild. From my point of view, this only adds to the thunder of the year. It only adds to the possibility of goodness, of greatness in the year. Of course, we have the challenges of overcoming our material selves and asking ourselves, why are we doing what we are doing, which is what the program is about and what the purpose is about of living everything that we are living. I've seen many videos online where people are being extremely dramatic about year 2024, saying that it's a year of a shift, that, we're going to have people very polarized and that, there's going to be a lot of argument and a lot of war. It doesn't look to me like that 2024 is going to be like that from the information that I can see and that what I have. There might be a crisis, but the crisis and the whole point of going through a crisis, it's like having a surgery. The whole point why you go through a surgery or like a purge in your body, right? Why you go and see an expert doctor if you have a tumor, is because that needs to be extracted so the entire organism can live. So it looks to me more like that this year. That it's, from the part of Saturn, very adamantly and in a very scientific, clean way, the Earth is being cleansed of outdated ideas or outdated attitudes that no longer need to be there so that humanity can move forward, for a few years into prosperity. Now, is it going to be a complicated year? Yes, economically, it can be complicated, but there's going to be a lot of opportunity. So, in the end of the day, I think it is more the question of what we do with abundance rather than a lack of abundance this year. So, we need to plan. So, anyway, look, if you're going online and you're seeing all these clickbait videos that, the year is going to be really bad and, you know, prepare for the purge and the ascent into the fifth dimension and all of that stuff. Remember that people put those videos online and they're clickbait. It has to be so alarming that people click on it because they prey on fear. But from the point of view of Vedic astrology, the power of knowledge is that it can give us equanimity. So, we know what's happening. It's like foretelling the weather, right? If it's going to be cold, you wear a jacket and you are prepared. From my point of view, other years were less harmonic and more challenging. This year looks to me like, okay, there's definitely going to be a lot of illusion. We'll see it when we go into Rahu and Ketu, and, of course, karma that is being processed. But it looks to me like a year of harmony and opportunity, especially for stability and material growth. So, of course, there's the shifts, but I would say the major shift will definitely come from Saturn and Aquarius. It's important. Humanity lives this once every 27 years, so it is an incredible technological revolution what's going on right now. Yes, you will see the difference. Yes, it will, hopefully, by the decisions we take, elevate humanity. But remember that it's not so much the power we have, right? You can be driving a Ferrari or you can be driving an airplane, a jet plane at that, the Millennial Falcon. But it really doesn't matter the capability of the machine. What matters is who's driving it, who the pilot is. And that is always coming back to spirituality and our moral, ethical, and spiritual standing as human beings, right? Our awareness of others, our awareness of our karmic responsibility, our awareness of our spiritual potential, which is pure freedom. So, for example, you have wonderful examples around the world of spiritual leaders that are doing a lot under this energy. So, particularly the Sadhguru of Coimbatore, India, he is very much in this ray of Saturn and Aquarius, very, very much on that line. And, look what he's doing, right? So it's not all doom and gloom for humanity. The right people that can elevate our consciousness and our frequency, they are there. He's not the only one, right? He just happens to be the one that I see is more in tune with this energy of Saturn, particularly. So I predict that for him, he will expand even more. So no, from my point of view, I don't think humanity is doomed. I don't think all the eggs are in one basket, as my auntie would say. No, it's not like somebody has all the power. I think every single one of us has a choice. So never fall into the despair of thinking that you're at the mercy of some bad energy and that you have nothing to do about it. No, if you work on yourself and you're in clean energy and you're in high vibration and frequency, everything should be okay. Try to associate with people that are in a great frequency. Try to find a spiritual master, and sure enough, you can travel even the most dangerous waters, right, under the expert guidance of an expert navigator. So there shouldn't be a problem. At least karmically, it doesn't look a very challenging year as others that we have gone through just recently. It'll tend towards a purge and stability of that energy that needs to go, so that again, the system may stabilize once more. All right, so now let's have a look at Ketu in Virgo, which again, is one of those years where the transits of the giants, which greatly determine the karma of the year, they're all going to be very stable. Saturn stable, Jupiter is mostly stable, and Ketu is also in an earth sign, so it's mostly stable. Remember what is being played out here in Virgo is, control. I would say that is the challenge. Extreme control over details, or extreme, reliance on things being under our grip or control or under our supervision. And then having to realize that even though that works to a certain extent when it comes, for example, to health, to running a business, to running organizations, even though it works, it doesn't mean that it necessarily determines the greater plan in the universe, because God's will is also at play in consciousness that is higher than our particular or individual consciousness are also at play. Usually when we see videos on predictions, right, like if you see Nostradamus or anybody that predicted anything, is usually catastrophes. But most of the time, what we don't realize is that, God is extremely benefic, and he is always helping, right? And even the demigods, they are always helping. So that despair, remember, is just clickbait. Albeit there might be some stored karma. It's like, if you have a terminal illness, or, you're sick of something, right? You're always going to go to the doctor and hope that somebody's figured it out. And, sure enough, many of the times, a doctor can do a lot for you if you follow the help of the doctor. And, doctors happen to have a passion for healing, right? So they actually consider it a win when they manage to heal you. So as human beings, we should also consider, right, that not everything depends on our control. Just like when we're very sick and we go to the doctor, we surrender in faith to the doctor. I think during this year there will be instances where we have the opportunity for faith, because Rahu is in Pisces. It's lorded by Jupiter in Pisces. So that karmic pattern is reminding us that faith in God during this year is going to be very important. It's not what we know, because I think the structures of the world are going to change a lot. At least this is what this transit tells me, that we are shifting whatever structures gave us stability and security. Those they have to update and shift, right? And that we have to have faith that the people that are above us and guiding us, they have done their job to set the stage so that we can encounter a better possibility. So it's almost like people that have a lot of Ketu in Virgo. It's imagine that you know how to use a Nokia phone really well, right? And you're so used to it, and then somebody offers you a smartphone and you're like, nah, I'm not going to use that. I'm just going to stick to the Nokia because, mostly because you're used to it and you know how to operate it. Or, like, not wanting to shift from Windows 98 to the new version of Windows, right? Or even better, when you shift from a Windows system to a Mac system. There's a fear in doing that, but remember that it could be better, right? Not to get into technological controversy. I personally like Mac. I find it easier, but I remember there was a challenge for me shifting from a Windows platform to a Mac platform. So it's a lot what it looks like to me, that we are shifting from old, outdated systems here with all of this transit of Ketu to better systems of social organization, of personal organization, of health organization, economical and governmental organization. So the entire thing, right, is to let the old structures go and have faith that, together as humanity, we can come up with a better solution, as the times move forward, to find, answers to the questions that we have right now, which is how are we going to get organized in this new world with artificial intelligence, with a new economy, with the problems that we have. So, and for that, spirituality will come in very strongly. All right, and finally we have Rahu, and where Rahu is going to be. So remember, Rahu is everything that we didn't do, that obsession of trying something new, or those parts of ourselves that have hunger, because it's the head of a dragon, right? The greedy head of a dragon. Dissociated from Ketu, which is the body of a dragon. They're split into two. So why dragon? Because it's an unconscious drive. We're not very conscious of it. Anyhow, it's karmic, so it tends to be emotional. That drive tends to be emotional. So when Rahu goes to Pisces, well, the good news is that it's lorded by Jupiter. So as long as Jupiter is strong and well positioned, we may have, a way to fulfill this destiny and run through this program, which basically is faith. Now, the corruption of faith, what is that? Falling into too many dreams and illusions, which is something I see very strongly during this year. So, an insane amount of social media, an explosion in illusions. I see mirrors and illusions, and I see even deeper ways to lose ourselves in things that are dissociated from ourselves. Before, at least the point of reference was a common reality. But I see during this time there's going to be an explosion on individual reality, or virtual reality, let's call it, in that way. So there's a bit of madness associated to it. However, if conducted well, this transit could also bring an incredibly high degree of spirituality to the planet. An explosion of, I would say, common sense in the way that I think, the possibilities are going to be so extreme during this transit of, alternative realities, or dreams or delusions that we can access, right? Like, for example, being able to talk to your computer and, prefer, an AI over a real human being as a friend. Things like that will be confronted with, virtual realities, worlds to escape to. All of that is going to be rising during this year. The cycle is going to be like that. However, if we center ourselves and we use this transit wisely, it may open the doors to understanding higher dimensions of ourselves, intimate dimensions of ourselves, spiritual dimensions of ourselves. So overall, I think it's going to be a great year for people that want to study yoga or spirituality, people that want to nurture um, their inner world or their inner selves, especially during the time where Rahu is going to be in Revati. So that is until July 8th of this starting year. And Revati it's a wonderful nakshatra. So at some point there, Jupiter is going to be in Rohini and Rahu is going to be in Revati. They're both queens in the stories that we know from the Vedas. They're both exalted queens, and Revati, for example, she's a nurturer, and so is Rohini. So remember that Rahu in Pisces does have a relationship with Jupiter in Taurus and Rohini, and they'll be active around the same time. So it's going to be an extremely nurturing year. I see a lot of possibility, a lot of capital, a lot of investment. So mostly there's fortune and possibility during this year. However, if we squander our energy and we get distracted, we may end up with some trouble, right, in our mind, because of the amount of illusions that are going to be available. So just I always try to remind people that you have your values, right? You have your desires and you have your needs, but you have your values, and your values are those things that for sure that are important in life, not only for you but for others as well. So in the preservation of those values, like freedom, like independence, respect, trust, love, family, a certain degree of acceptance, of equality, right? Democracy can be so. Respect for our elders, the pursuit of purity and wisdom, all of these. Opportunity may also be a value. So, if we pursue those higher values individually and as a society, we will definitely end up in a good place. We'll understand it's not escapism, or it's not that we're looking for, right? It's not individualism. It's collective. What we can do as a species uh, inevitably affects others. So that consciousness of interdependence beyond independence, right? Where my power serves the other, I think it's going to come a lot into play during this time. Then finally, from July 8th, Rahu goes into Uttara Bhadrapada. So it is the Shakti of bringing cosmic rain, fertility, Kundalini energy, and the need for seclusion. So again, the question, remember the notes move backwards. So it is the need to meditate and the need to think about, okay, so we've had opportunity, we had nurturing, we had investment. So it's like where to go next with our life, right? What is life all about? And what is the meaning of being a human being? So in the larger theater of life, we get an opportunity to understand ourselves a little better during this year. Um, Again, try to make the best out of it. Believe in your own light, and try to realize that the abundance of the light of God is always with you, and that the helping hand of God and His associates, His devotees, is always with you, whatever tradition you may come from. There's love, there's light, there's opportunity, and there's always, whatever happened in the past, if you made mistakes, something you must have learned from it about yourself that was beautiful and valuable, on how to redefine your life so that pain and that hurt may not come again. It'll build your character. So try to see the good that life has given you and try to build something beautiful and positive with it. Something that may be transcendental, which is spirituality means that, within our inner world, we have reached first the state of peace and acceptance. And then, with that peace, from a place of peace and love, we meditate. In what way can we add value? In what way can we shine a light, not only for ourselves but for others, and realize that in the infinite tapestry of the universe, right, when we vibrate in harmony and uniqueness and beauty, the entire universe becomes a fantastic possibility if we are highly vibrant and wonderfully exuberant in our passion, in our love, and in our delivery of the service that we have, so that everyone can benefit, right? So try to be bright and beautiful. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. External circumstances don't really matter. What matters is that you're shining your light. So from my side, I wish you a wonderful 2024. We don't usually say this, but if you're watching this, know that whatever you went through, you should be proud of yourself because you're here, and you're a little wiser, a little stronger, and just look for that positivity within you, and remember that whatever you believe, you can manifest. So manifest the most beautiful in you. You have that possibility. Pray, and God will help you. Miracles are happening all the time. Actually, the entire thing is a miracle, if you think about it. So from my side, I wish you well for 2024. May you have a wonderful year, and I pray to my goddess, Srimati Radharani, that she may bless all of you. May you be watching, and find love, find service, shine your light. Radhe Radhe.